Welcome to Streaming News Network, where we deliver balanced reporting with the facts that matter. This edition is hosted by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel and this is Streaming News Network. We begin with our first report. A Florida couple has been arrested after investigators say 4 children were forced to live inside the cab of a semi-truck for approximately 7 years. Authorities in Jacksonville say Keisha Epps and Tamara Stewart are facing multiple child neglect charges after officers discovered the children living in a truck parked at a transportation facility. Investigators say the children reported they had been living there since 2019, sharing a single mattress in the cab and rarely being allowed to leave, even to use the restroom or shower. Police say the children had not attended a traditional school for about 5 years, lacked regular medical and dental care, and described poor living conditions. Investigators also allege the children reported physical abuse and other serious concerns involving Stewart. The case began during a separate police investigation and led authorities to remove the children from the truck. Officials have not released details about their current placement. Both Epps and Stewart remain in custody as the investigation continues. Court proceedings are scheduled later this month, while authorities continue reviewing the allegations. This is Streaming News Network. A California man is facing a murder charge after authorities say a 68-year-old homeowner was fatally stabbed during an alleged residential burglary. 36-year-old Marcos Iriarte Valdez is accused of killing Todd Stewart on August 6 in Contra Costa County. Investigators say the attack occurred just 1 day after Iriarte Valdez had been released on pretrial conditions in an earlier residential burglary case. Court records indicate he now faces a murder charge, along with allegations involving a burglary, use of a knife, and committing the offense while on conditional release. His bail has been set at more than $1 million. The Department of Homeland Security identifies Iriarte Valdez as a Venezuelan national who is also reported to hold Spanish citizenship. Immigration authorities have reportedly placed a detainer on him. Iriarte Valdez has denied the charges. Prosecutors say they intend to pursue the case fully and hold him accountable under the law. This is Streaming News Network. New reports are raising questions about federal oversight after millions of taxpayer dollars were awarded to organizations that critics say have historical or alleged connections to extremist groups. One report says the Department of Health and Human Services provided nearly $80 million to 14 organizations that the report characterizes as having terrorism or extremism-related connections. The largest recipient identified was the California chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, which reportedly received more than $42 million for services involving Afghan refugees. The organization disputes any suggestion of wrongdoing, saying its grants are fully reported, audited, and used for their intended purposes. Separately, the State Department announced a $2 billion global health and humanitarian partnership involving World Vision. Critics have raised concerns about historical allegations involving World Vision's operations in Gaza and other organizations that previously received funding through its programs. The State Department rejected claims that the administration is allowing American foreign assistance to be diverted to terrorist organizations, calling such implications baseless. The controversy now centers on how federal agencies vet organizations receiving taxpayer-funded assistance. This is Streaming News Network. More than 2 months after a New Jersey mother was found fatally stabbed inside her home, investigators have released remarkably few details about the case. 35-year-old Brooke Hanlon, a mother and psychotherapist, was discovered dead from multiple stab wounds at her home in Chester on June 6. Her husband, Connor Hanlon, made the emergency call reporting that she was unresponsive and not breathing. Officers arrived within minutes and pronounced her dead. The death was classified as suspicious. A 12-month-old child was reportedly inside the home at the time but was not injured. The Morris County Prosecutor's Office is leading the investigation, but authorities have not publicly identified a suspect or person of interest. Private investigator Carl DeFazio, a former United States Marine and retired New York City police officer, says the lack of public information is unusual, but could indicate investigators are deliberately protecting evidence or withholding details known only to the killer. He says detectives would typically examine the crime scene, forensic evidence, possible defensive wounds, relationships, finances, and the timeline surrounding the death. For now, the investigation remains open, and major questions about who killed Brooke Hanlon and why remain unanswered. This is Streaming News Network. Virginia's political direction is drawing renewed criticism from Republicans, who argue that recent Democratic policies could reverse economic and public safety gains made during former Governor Glenn Youngkin's administration. Former Virginia Attorney General Jason Miers outlines 5 areas he says demonstrate the problem. First, he argues that proposed tax increases and new regulations could make Virginia less attractive to businesses and employers. Second, he criticizes the administration's energy policies, arguing that renewable energy requirements could increase electricity costs while the state faces growing demand for reliable power. Third, Republicans are challenging changes to criminal sentencing, claiming thousands of convicted offenders have been released early and that many were subsequently arrested again. Fourth, opponents are criticizing proposed collective bargaining requirements for local governments, warning that they could increase costs for taxpayers. And fifth, Republicans accuse the administration of pursuing partisan redistricting despite Virginia voters previously approving a constitutional amendment establishing a nonpartisan process. Democrats and Governor Abigail Spanberger have defended their policies and approach to governing. The broader debate centers on taxes, economic growth, energy costs, public safety, labor policy, and the role of political parties in Virginia government. Ultimately, voters will determine whether the state's current direction represents progress or a reversal of previous policies. This is Streaming News Network. A routine backyard landscaping project in San Francisco has uncovered an unexpected piece of art that could potentially be worth a fortune. Greg Gatwood says he was digging in his Russian Hill backyard in May when his shovel struck something unusual. What emerged was a large, carved limestone sculpture. The discovery became even more intriguing because the couple lives directly across from the former San Francisco Art Institute, where generations of artists studied and worked. Gatwood believes the sculpture could have some connection to Ralph Stackpole, a prominent San Francisco sculptor and muralist who taught at the art school and created major public works during the 1920s and 30s. His partner, artist Judy Gittleson, isn't convinced Stackpole created the piece, but says its broad facial features and flattened nose strongly resemble the artistic style associated with his era and students. A local sculptor reportedly examined the work and concluded that its craftsmanship suggested a highly skilled artist. The couple believes the sculpture may once have been displayed on a pedestal before becoming hidden beneath vegetation. But there is still one major mystery: no expert has definitively identified the artist or established when or why the sculpture was placed there. If it is eventually authenticated as a significant historical work, its value could be substantial. This is Streaming News Network. A company with deep roots in Hollywood could consider leaving California as a legal battle over a major media merger intensifies. Paramount Skydance is seeking to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery, but California Attorney General Rob Bonta and attorneys general from other states have filed an antitrust lawsuit attempting to block the transaction. Paramount's chief legal officer says Chief Executive David Ellison remains committed to California, but also has a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. The legal fight could become increasingly expensive. Beginning in October, Paramount could owe Warner Bros. Discovery $7 million for every day the transaction remains incomplete. If the deal isn't completed by June 1, 2027, the potential termination fee could reach $7 billion. Reports indicate Paramount could consider relocating its headquarters to states including Texas, Tennessee, or Georgia if the dispute continues. Even if the merger is completed, a move reportedly has not been ruled out. Paramount has been based in Southern California for approximately 100 years, and lawmakers are urging the company to remain. The possibility comes amid a broader pattern of high-profile businesses and personalities leaving California, including Tesla and SpaceX owner Elon Musk, while comedian Joe Rogan also relocated from the state. For Paramount, the question now is whether its historic Hollywood roots outweigh the financial and regulatory pressures facing the company. This is Streaming News Network. Country music legend Connie Smith is celebrating her 85th birthday today, marking more than 6 decades as one of traditional country music's most respected voices. Smith exploded onto the scene in 1964 with Once a Day, written by Bill Anderson. The song became the first debut single by a female country artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Country Chart, where it remained for 8 weeks. That remarkable achievement helped launch a career that produced numerous top 10 country hits and earned Smith a reputation as one of the genre's greatest singers. She joined the Grand Ole Opry in 1965, beginning a relationship with the institution that has lasted for decades. Her voice has also earned extraordinary praise from fellow legends. George Jones reportedly called her his favorite female singer, while Elvis Presley was an admirer of her recordings. Dolly Parton once placed Smith among the world's greatest female vocalists. Smith was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2012 and has received 11 Grammy nominations. Even after 6 decades, she continued recording new music, releasing albums in 2021 and 2024. At 85, Connie Smith remains a celebrated voice whose influence continues across country music. This is Streaming News Network. Paris Jackson is offering a glimpse into her childhood with her father, Michael Jackson, while clearing up misconceptions about life at Neverland Ranch. During a recent podcast interview, Paris said she and her brothers, Prince and BG, did not actually grow up at the famous California estate. She explained that she spent only the first few years of her life there before attending school. Paris recalled that her father established strict rules. The children were expected to complete their homework, chores, and other responsibilities before they could enjoy weekend activities. She said that could include seeing animals, riding attractions, or going to the movies. Paris also emphasized that the entertainment facilities at Neverland were not intended exclusively for the Jackson children. She said they were presented as attractions for underprivileged and seriously ill children who might not otherwise have opportunities to visit major amusement parks. She recalled similar rules while the family traveled, saying weekend entertainment was used as an incentive for good behavior. Neverland, which Michael Jackson purchased in 1988, included amusement rides, a zoo, a train system, and a large residence. The property was eventually sold in December 2020 for $22 million. I am Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. Thank you for watching and staying informed.
Thank you for viewing Streaming News Network videos, and also short and special reports. Please like, subscribe, and tap the bell to be notified of additional reports.